As a contemporary of the Roman Empire, Axum, located in modern-day Ethiopia and Eritrea, was unique. It was the only African civilization south of the Sahara to be recognized as a major power by the classical world, listed by the Persian prophet Mani as one of the four great empires of the 3rd century, alongside Rome, Persia, and China. 1. Trade. The commercial empire Axum's rise was fundamentally a product of its geographic and commercial strategy. Its location on the Red Sea coast, at the port of Adulis, placed it at the intersection of three major trade networks: the Roman/Mediterranean world, the Arabian Peninsula, and the Indian Ocean. The monopoly on the Red Sea trade, Axum acted as the intermediary between the Roman Empire and the Indian Ocean. Roman merchants sought luxuries from the east, Indian pepper, silk, and gems, while Indian and Arabian merchants sought gold, ivory, and animal hides from the African interior. Exports and resources. Axum controlled the highlands of Ethiopia, which provided the key resource of ivory. The kingdom also became the primary exporter of obsidian, tortoise shell, spices, specifically frankincense and myrrh, and gold. Unlike many contemporary kingdoms that merely taxed trade, Axumite merchants actively sailed their own fleets to India and Ceylon, Sri Lanka. Currency. Axum was the first African civilization south of the Sahara to mint its own coinage. Beginning in the late 3rd century under King Ezana, Axum produced gold, silver, and bronze coins. This was not just an economic tool, it was a political statement. Because the coins were made of high-purity gold, they were accepted in international markets, proving to Rome and Persia that Axum was a sophisticated, sovereign state. The iconography on the coins is invaluable to historians, as it charts the kingdom's shift from polytheism to Christianity. 2. Religion. The transition from polytheism to Christianity. Religion was the primary driver of Axum's cultural identity and its diplomatic alignment. The kingdom underwent a dramatic transformation in the 4th century that reoriented its foreign policy. Pre-Christian era. Before the 4th century, Axum was polytheistic. The primary deity was Marim, or Astar, a war god associated with the god of the Sabian kingdom across the Red Sea. Rulers were believed to be divine or semi-divine descendants of these gods. The massive steles, obelisks, at Axum, some standing over 100 feet tall, were likely erected as markers for underground tombs and symbolized the prestige of the elite, reflecting a belief in a powerful ancestral afterlife. The conversion, circa 324 to 340 CE, the conversion of Axum is attributed to Frumentius, a Syrian Christian captured as a child and brought to the Axumite court. He became a tutor and later the secretary to King Ezana. After Ezana came to power, Frumentius converted him to Christianity. King Ezana's official inscriptions mark a turning point. Early inscriptions praise Marim, while later inscriptions invoke the Lord of Heaven. Strategic implications. By adopting Miaphysite Christianity, which would later become the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, Axum aligned itself with the Eastern Roman, Byzantine Empire. This provided Axum with a powerful Christian ally against its rival, the Himyarite kingdom in modern Yemen, which was Jewish or pagan. In the 6th century, Axum invaded and occupied southern Arabia to protect Christian communities there, a crusade centuries before the concept existed in Europe. This religious identity insulated Axum during the rise of Islam. In the 7th century, though surrounded by Islamic powers, Axum, and later Ethiopia, was respected by early Muslims as a place of refuge. 3. Political organization. The sacred kingship and administration. The political structure of Axum was a sophisticated blend of a centralized monarchy, a powerful regional aristocracy, and a unique system of territorial administration. The king, Negus, the king was the absolute authority, often referred to in inscriptions as King of Kings, Negus and Negest. This title indicated sovereignty over subordinate kingdoms, such as the Beja nomads and the territories in southern Arabia. The king's power was derived from a combination of military prowess, control over trade routes, and, after Ezana, divine sanction from the church. Decentralized control. Unlike the bureaucratic Roman Empire, Axum governed through a system of tributary lords. Local chiefs in the highlands maintained their own militias and collected taxes, but they owed allegiance to the central king. This allowed Axum to control a vast territory without the need for a massive standing army of occupation, though it also made the kingdom vulnerable to regional secession if the center grew weak. The port of Adulis, the political heart of the kingdom, was the highland capital, the city of Axum, but its economic lifeline was the port of Adulis on the Red Sea. The king maintained direct control over Adulis, often appointing a governor to manage the lucrative customs duties. The Monumentum Adulatinum, an inscription recorded in the 6th century, boasts of the king's military campaigns to secure trade routes from barbarians who threatened the hinterland. 4. Decline. Environmental and economic factors. Axum's decline in the 7th century was not sudden but a result of intertwined pressures, which serve as a useful conclusion to its story. Rise of Islam. The rapid expansion of Islamic powers across the Red Sea and the Arabian Peninsula in the 630s effectively isolated Axum from its Christian allies in Byzantium and cut off its access to the Mediterranean markets. Axum lost control of its Red Sea ports and was gradually surrounded by the new caliphate. Climate and overfarming. Modern archaeological and paleo-environmental studies, such as those at the site of Beta Georgis, suggest that a shift to a drier climate, combined with centuries of intensive agriculture and deforestation in the highlands, led to soil erosion. This reduced agricultural yields, which could no longer support the massive infrastructure, steles, palaces, or the central administration. Shift of power. Following these pressures, the capital shifted southward into the more defensible and fertile highlands of Lasta, marking the end of the Aksumite classical period and the beginning of the medieval Zagwe dynasty. The legacy of Axum, however, persisted: the church, the concept of a sacred monarchy, and the Solomonic myth, the claim that Ethiopian kings descended from King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, all trace their roots to this powerful kingdom. Summary analysis aspect. Key characteristics. Global context. Trade-controlled Red Sea port of Adulis, intermediary between Rome and India, minted gold coinage, first in sub-Saharan Africa. Part of a globalized economy linking China, India, Persia, and the Mediterranean. Religion converted to Christianity under King Ezana, circa 340 CE, aligned with Byzantine Empire, used faith to justify expansion into Arabia. It was a major Christian power in Africa, initially tolerated, later isolated by the rise of Islam. Politics. Centralized king of kings system, ruled through tributary lords, governed by inscriptions and military campaigns. Recognized by Persia and Rome as the 3rd century great power of the ancient world. In conclusion, the Kingdom of Aksum represents a unique model of ancient power, a state that derived its influence not primarily from territorial conquest, like Rome, or cultural homogeneity, like Persia, but from its strategic position as a commercial hub and its shrewd use of religion to forge a lasting cultural and diplomatic identity that survives to this day in the Ethiopian Orthodox Church.